This series is a new one for me to present. It's focused or kind of has a little anchor in yin and yang. In all of my series, I always have a core practice or two, and then I add other things to it. My goal is that you, in 7 weeks, one class, get as much out of it as you can. And the reason I set the series up in 7 weeks is because that's 49 days. And I think I mentioned in the little handout I sent you that there's a traditional Asian idea that 7 times 7, 49, 7 weeks. If you practice with awareness and as much commitment as you can muster, 49 days you own the practice, meaning that you have enough understanding and connection to the practice so that you can continue on your own. That said, Taoist energetics tend to need a teacher also. It's fine to practice on your own, checking back in, going back on your own. Taoists have a tendency to be independent and I guess no respecters of authority. So what I also offer to one-time students, to long-term students is I'm here. You email me with a question, you get an answer. Sometimes, because I type 100 words a minute, the answers are long. Sometimes they're as short as they need to be. So just know that even after you've attended this free class and you decide not to continue, if you have questions, if you're trying to do these things and not feeling confident, I'm here. So yin and yang, and I have a bunch of pictures to share with you. We all think we know what it is because it's, come on, that's Elf. She doesn't like Zoom. And a lot of times the understanding is cursory because we don't need it in our life. But also, I want to clear up a couple of misconceptions that I see happening a lot that are detrimental to our using it well. Once again, if you don't know me, I'm an artist, and one of the things I love about Tao practice are the beautiful, quirky imagery that have been handed down to us. And here's a couple of 3 quotes. I like the shortest, the first one, the best. Those of you who are gardeners will appreciate, I think, all 3. Pausing so you can read them, but so before we narrow our focus to yin and yang, the concept, the image, which is properly called the Taiji Tu, comes from Taoism. 4,000 years, lots of writers and philosophers, so it can be a bit overwhelming. But there are core ideas that can really influence and improve and enrich our contemporary lives without digging into years-long study of ancient writings, translations. This is the main one. The Tao is change. You may have noticed in yourself or other people around you, humans don't really like change. We get anxious, we're reluctant, and things are really going wrong, we're hoarding, weird things because we might need them someday, or we're hanging on to habits and beliefs that don't work for us anymore. That's a survival thing. We still have our caveman brain cells going on, and change when we we're living in nature with a lot of other predators. And let's say undependable weather and harvests. Change could mean sickness, it could mean starvation, it could mean death. So respect your reluctance to embrace change, but also you kind of have to embrace the fact that it's always going to be coming up on you. And I'll come back to that. What I want to do is really do Taoist cosmology a great injustice. I want you to just have in the front of your mind that, and I think in the olden days, the Western anthropologists called it mythology, but the Taoists don't, it's not myths to them, to me, to us. But the beginning of the universe started with Wu Ji, which to us is unknowable, but it was also undifferentiated. And sometimes in English, the word void is applied, but we have to modify that to be a void that is fertile, that holds all possibility. So it's not arid emptiness, it's very fecund or fertile. And at some point, things started to differentiate. So in the writings, they refer to this as the cosmic egg, but you see there are two parts to it. It wasn't yin and yang yet, but there was some separation, some like moving toward like. And then the polarity arose, where we have a yin and a yang, but they weren't interacting. And I'm using yin and yang, I'm not defining that yet because I want to do that separately. Then the cosmic egg cracks open. And I'm wondering, or I have wondered, if that's the physicist's Big Bang. I'm not sure, but it's kind of interesting that it's not a smooth and gentle differentiation here. It's an egg cracking open. And that's where we end, or we begin, with Tai Chi, or yin and yang. So yin and yang is the way the cosmos manifests. And we're not going to spend a lot of time with the bottom of this map of the creation of the universe, but just know that that differentiation continues into 5 elements, it continues into the animals, into the bagua, into the earthly branches, and celestial stems, which it's a beautiful evocation of an image, branches and stems, which might be another course. That's where the astrology, Chinese astrology, comes from. This image, I think, is a little more on point and helpful. So we have Wuji, the unknowable fertile void. They're calling it here the Taiji, which is that differentiation. And then we have an organized differentiation. This is what you're going to be familiar with. The yang and the yin, and how yang has certain attributes and yin has certain attributes. This is very convenient. Convenient, bless you, is not always accurate and does not always take us as deep as we would like to. Know that there is a polarity, that it is not black and white. Very little of yin and yang. The Tai Chi too is this way for clarity, but something can have a little bit of yin and a little bit of yang, a lot of yin, a little yang. So it's really, if we had all the time in the world and a massive piece of paper to draw what yin and yang really is, it would be many shades of gray, moving into clarity, back into middle ground, and then to another clarity. So this is just a lovely diagram of the yin and yang of a day. So not only is yin and yang shifting in each of us, each plant, each animal, each area or geological growth in the earth, on the earth, through time, it shifts also. So at midnight makes sense, right? Yin, quiet, sleeping, resting. Noon, bright, active, outward focused. So these are just some fun little things. This is the one you'll see most often, and it's incorrect. The Taiji 2 is not a disc, and yin and yang don't circle each other. I couldn't find one that really expressed the movement that I wanted to, but this one is a little better, a little more complicated. They're still not blending, but the movement is kind of mesmerizing, but it's also a little closer to the way we could express. And this one I think is the best, mostly because those cats look confused and panicked. And when humans, get really aware and focused with the layers of change in our life, even in a single breath, it's probably a good idea to be confused, if not panicked. So before I go into what we'll actually be doing, I'd like us to do some practice, because this is not a lecture only. Although I should tell you, I talk. So it's not like many yoga classes where the teacher simply guides you through practice. You feel wonderful. But there's just a tiny bit of Dharma. I operate on the assumption or belief that most people who come to my classes, one, would like to know more about why they're doing things and the Taoist kind of context, and that Taoism is rich and complex, and so it bears a little more focus on conveying that information. So let's stand up and do a little bit of the Qigong that we're going to spend time with. You can see my head. So much Qigong practice is standing. So we want to stand well, create a structure that is supportive of energy flow and working with our qi, with our energy. Feet are hip, shoulder width apart, and look down, because ideally your feet are parallel to each other. Excuse me. Unlock your knees. That unlocks your hips and your ankles. Engage your abdomen, but gently. So if your abdomen is usually relaxed, bring it to a more engaged state. But if you're one of the many people who hold your abdomen in, either to have it closer to your spine or as a place you hold stress or anxiety, try to relax. Shoulders, of course, down. Can visualize, feel how heavy your arms are. Tuck your chin gently. Opens the back of your neck and brings your crown center, this energetic porosity, facing what we call heaven, sky, the source of yang qi. I want you now to also lift your toes and grab more of the floor. They don't have to stay grabbing, but I want you to open that space between the pads of your toes and the ball of your foot. And that opens the porosity in the soles of your foot. So you can connect with the yin energy coming from earth. Close your eyes. This is your standing well, energetically neutral posture, except your heart is a little forward. Inhale into your heart. And as you exhale, allow your heart to settle into the center of your body. It's a subtle change. Inhale again. Exhale, settle, nestle your heart. Good. Stay in your inner landscape, enjoying. And with your next inhale, gather up all of your actions, intentions, movements that you use to arrive here with all of us in this moment. Inhale and gather. Exhale them out the bottom of your feet back to the earth. We were all successful. We don't need those anymore. Inhale and gather. Exhale back to the earth. Good. With your next inhale, gather up all of your plans and anticipations for the evening, the week, even further into the future. Inhale and gather. Exhale them off to the side. Once again, inhale and gather whatever might pull your attention, your mind to the future. Inhale and gather it. Exhale it off to the side. It'll still be there when we're done. And now enjoy your more spacious inner landscape. We're going to do a short Qigong called Opening the Spine, which to me is a precursor to almost anything I practice. It is not meant to make your spine more flexible. It is more about moving your spine to release any of the spinal fluids that might have settled and to release the qi that should very much be flowing up and down your spine. So visualize that a low wall. It's almost like sitting on top of your feet. It's so close to your shins, and it only goes up to your knees. And we're going to slow motion dive over that wall. That wall keeps our spine rounded so we don't lever down from our hips. And once we're down, we just stay. Enjoy hanging. Enjoy gravity pulling at you in this different direction. You can shake and nod your head if you tend to hold the muscles of your neck. You can circle tiny circles over the surface of the floor. It helps release any holding in your shoulders. And we're going to rise, but we're not even going to think about rising. What I want you to do is visualize the pretty great monkey's tail extending from your tailbone. And because you're bent over, your monkey's tail hits the floor maybe 3.5 feet behind you. And just with your intention, draw that tail closer to the back of your feet, closer to your heels.
And that will begin to shift your pelvis. And you'll begin to rise and continue rising into stacking your vertebrae one on the next until you're upright again. Pause here. Always pause between bending over and bending back. It's kinder to your muscles of your back and your spine. Open your wrists, open your elbows, open your shoulders, which opens your chest. Connect your heart to heaven with a silken cord. And take a deep, full inhale. Pause. Then a slow, even exhale. One more time. And to return to upright, don't stand up, but turn your wrists back in, your elbows back in, your shoulders back, and then to upright. So now that you know the steps, let's do that again. Slow motion dive. And stay. And begin to bring your monkey tail closer to your heels. Continue shifting your pelvis. Add stacking your vertebrae. When upright, pause and enjoy being upright. Open your wrists, open your elbows, open your shoulders and your chest. Connect your heart to heaven. Inhale. Exhale, smooth and even. And again. Exhale. Then return or turn inward once again, your wrists, elbows, shoulders. Go to being upright. Be with your body, be with your inner landscape. So since we're standing, let's stay standing. Standing practice is, you might call it a jewel in the crown of Taoist practice in Qigong. You'll see in books and on YouTube and in the parks, this posture, which is called I Chuan or embracing the tree. We're going to do a simpler posture. Simpler isn't always easier, but we want to return to our standing well posture. So unlock your joints. Gently engage your abdomen, tuck your chin. Put your tongue on your upper palate. So actually, we're going to do a more yang practice before I set you off into the water. I'm going to say more about this in a little while, but emblematic of yin, made physical, is water. The water element, the actual substance on the planet. A little snippet about why is that water is thought to be weak and soft because you just brush it with your hand and it moves, there's no resistance. I mean, we're setting aside
things like hurricanes and tsunamis here for the clarity of our practice. We can talk about that another time. But that same soft water dripping on a stone will wear a hole right through it. So it appears soft, but there is this inner strength. Fire, on the other hand, appears strong, scary. It consumes, it kills, it clears. But without oxygen, without fuel, it dies immediately. So fire appears strong on the outside, but inside it's weak, temporary. But without fire, we have no vitality. And without water, we have no nourishment. So we're going to do this Qigong. And after doing it once with me, you will know all you need to know to do it the rest of your life. The longer you do it, the more vibrant and enjoyable and beneficial it will become. In our standing well posture, go ahead and reach those toes out again to reopen, reconnect with the porosity at the bottom of your feet. Trust that you're also connected upward. So before we even start, we'll prepare by growing roots into the earth. Close your eyes. And let's establish our belly, our dantian. So this is where we can store qi, where we bring qi. This is a hugely important and useful part of our energetic anatomy. So just breathe into your belly, trusting that your energy body has been with you since birth and it knows all about your dantian. Inhale into your belly, into your dantian, and exhale. Just a simple breath to make that connection, to clarify it a tiny bit. Good. We're going to build on that. Expand your internal vision to the space around you. Notice, become aware that you are standing in a qi field. The atmosphere is not just oxygen, nitrogen, and other gases. We are surrounded. The earth gifts us with this atmosphere of life force energy. The traditional image is a golden mist. See yourself surrounded by this golden mist. Inhale that mist into your whole body. Even expand yourself like the Pillsbury Doughboy. And for now, just a gentle exhale. A couple more breaths. See your body growing brighter and brighter, taking in that qi. Good. Continue to inhale that golden mist, filling your whole body. Now exhale it out your feet back to the earth. And when you do, you are growing roots like a big, strong, old tree. Inhale that mist, that qi, that life force energy. Exhale it. Growing your roots, they're growing wider and deeper. They're getting thicker and stronger. Good. And pause. Now we're going to use our roots. Send your mind down to your feet, down to the outer edges of your roots, and then outward to the oceans of the earth. Connect with that salty water from which we all came. Inhale, drawing that salty water, yin qi to you, up your roots and begin to fill your body. Fill your feet, your ankles, your lower legs, your upper legs, your hips, your whole belly, your solar plexus, but stop at your heart. Everything above the heart is passive, observing, resting. With an exhale, allow it to flow back. We're not grasping, we're not anxious. We trust that our body and the water know what we need. Several breaths at your own cadence. Inhale, filling your body with ocean water, nourishing your body. Exhale, allowing it to return. Good. Rest. Enjoying, the nourishment, the richness that yin water qi brings. Now send your mind back down to your feet, back down to your roots. And now straight down to the center of the planet, where the lava, magma, the burning rock is. And just as the waters of the earth are where we came from, there is a sliver of this same burning fire yang qi at the center of every single one of our cells. So it's not artificial and it's not foreign. Inhale, draw that fiery yang qi, whatever visualization works for you today, up through your roots. Fill your feet, your legs, your belly, your solar plexus, only as high as your heart. Exhale, putting it back. Several breaths at your own rhythm. Using water without the vitality that fire brings is not good for us. We need that spark. And only bringing the vitality of fire without the weight and the coolness of water will dry us out, might even burn us. The last chapter of this Qigong is fire and water together. So when you have those two things together in the material world, change is dramatic. Water puts out fire, kills it, or changes from water to steam. It changes the temperature. The operative word is change. It can be chaotic, but we have rooted and grounded. We have nourished with water, and we have vitalized with fire, so no problem. Inhale up your roots, filling your body as high as your heart with fire and water together, however that looks and feels to you today. Exhale, putting it back. Several breaths. Good. Stay in your nourished, vitalized, grounded energy body, physical body, emotional body. So let's go ahead and return to our chair. One point I can't repeat or stress enough is that yin and yang don't exist without each other. They're always and forever relative. So even though we were just standing there and we could actually do that on a train platform and nobody would know what we're doing, that was actually pretty yang because of the intention and the working with the qi. What I want to do now is, before I go into more about yin and yang and fire and water, is another practice. And this practice can be used in many ways. It's called the inner smile. It comes from my main Taoist lineage, but it's so helpful, accessible, and beneficial that it's kind of spreading to the non-Taoist world in one way or another. One of the ways it's beneficial is you can do it in with a variety of intentions. And I would like us to try this inner smile as softly and as acceptingly, as receptively as possible. So context is the inner smile actually has 3 pathways through the body. We're just going to do an intuitive pathway. And it's very simple in that you smile to a part of you. Now we can go wrong. We can look for problems, smiling to that back pain or smiling into my jaw muscle because I'm always try not to do that. And you can go awry by being almost too unfocused. So we want to begin from this first time using this practice, very old, to help us cultivate our yin. So maybe I will say a little more about yin now. There's a misunderstanding that if we don't do anything, yin and yang are equally accessible, that there's a balance of yin and yang. There is in non-human Earth. Humans, especially 21st century humans, especially Western humans, especially American humans, I live in Brooklyn, especially New Yorkers, pretty young. We are a striving, outward turned, expressive, energetic group of humans at this point. So you notice that not all of those were bad, but without the resting, contemplative, accepting, not striving, not goal-oriented, allowing time or parts of us to have center stage often. That's when, just like if we were to bring in the fire chi without the water, we get dry and we even get burnt. They say stress is a chronic, almost an epidemic. People use that word. From a Taoist point of view, it's a lack of yin, a lack not only of cultivating, a lack of respect for yin. Now, I can't tell you how many of my clients say, oh, I just feel like I need to be productive with my spare time. I feel like I need to be productive all the time. Well, productive is yang and good. Can you sit looking out a window and watch the light recede? I could make a long list of things we could do to cultivate our yin, but what we're going to do is a practice that is defined. So that helps us because real yin, let's say rich yin, often is not defined. It's often very fuzzy, murky. And if we can be there, that's when we will get that enrichment. So just sit well, just as we have a standing well posture, we have a sitting well posture. Feel your sits bones on the stool or the chair. And I'd like you to even roll back onto your tailbone so you feel where you're not supposed to be. Come back forward onto your sits bones. Then go forward and onto the front of your sits bones. No, the sits bones are evolved. They evolved to hold our sitting weight. Feet on the floor, flat on the floor if possible. The heaviness of your shoulder girdle over the heaviness of your hips. And again, we tuck our chin, lengthen the back of our neck. And not essential for this, but it's helpful to keep your tongue on your upper palate. When we do energetic meditation, you want to close the palms of your hand, which are very porous. So you have a choice of clasping your hands or placing them palm down on your thighs. I prefer the second one because my arms are a little short and I tend to feel pulled down if my hands are clasped, they're not supported. And close your eyes. Return to that inner landscape. Return to your dantian. Inhale, draw in more of that golden mist. Didn't go away, it's always there. But now as you exhale, draw that mist into your belly. Feed your dantian, nourish your dantian. Several breaths like that. See your belly getting brighter and more golden. The version we're going to do today is more abbreviated than we will do in this series, but the bones are the same. Trust that that ballast you have just brought to your lower dantian will stay there. Let your attention float up to your crown center. Smile into your crown center. And when you smile to a part of your body, it brings that same golden mist that you're surrounded by to that part. Just smile. Gentle focus on your crown, gathering that light there. As you gather the light, as you smile, feel your crown, the skull around your crown, even your brain relax. Your crown is so full of loving, smiling, golden light. It begins to overflow. And it flows down to your forehead and your third eye. And add more by smiling into your third eye. And as you do, your whole forehead, the space between your brows and your third eye softens and relaxes. So much loving light overflows and now fills your eyes, your eye sockets, your eyeballs, your eyelids. Smile into your eyes. See them glowing, but also feel them soften. Feel them rest. And the chi, the inner smile, the light in your eyes overflows and fills the middle of your face. Smile into your sinuses and your nose, your nostrils, your sense of smell. That golden smile flows back into your ears, your earlobes, your ear canals, but deeper, the little bones, your sense of balance and hearing. Send that whole area, beautiful smile, lovely light, and allow that part of you to soften. Overflowing from your ears to your jawbone joints, sides of your face. Smile into those joints. Feel them release and relax. Overflowing into your mouth, your lips, your teeth, your gums. Smile. So saturated, flows inward to saturate your tongue. Allow your tongue to soften and rest. That beautiful golden light, the attention of your gentle smile flows down the front of your throat to your chest. Smile into your chest, the ribs in the front of your body. And then allow that lovely light, that beautiful accepting attention to soak inward so you can smile to your lungs and your heart. See them glowing deeply, brightly. And it overflows downward to your liver, pancreas, stomach, and spleen, those organs across your solar plexus. Smile into your waist, your solar plexus, and deeply into your body so those organs benefit. Allow that light to move around your side so we can smile into our kidneys and the middle of our back. Smile into your kidneys. Feel them soften. Feel them rest. And the light, the smile goes around your other side to your belly, both intestines, reproductive organs, the bottom of your torso. Smile. And when saturated, they overflow down to your perineum, energy center at the bottom of your torso. Smile into your perineum. And rest. Return to your crown. Smile. See it filling with golden light once again. Filling to capacity and overflowing. But this time flowing down your body like lovely warm water. Flows over your forehead and your third eye, over your eyes, your nose, your ears, and down to your mouth, to your tongue, going down the front of you, your chest, through your lungs and heart, to your solar plexus and mid organs, around back to your kidneys, around front to your intestines and reproductive organs. Golden light flowing downward, releasing any residual holding or tension until we reach our perineum again. And rest. Stay. Try not to do too much. Just stay. Let your eyes flutter open. And I usually end any seated stuff by bringing down heaven. So inhale, circling your arms up to heaven. Exhale, drawing that energy down through your body to earth. An energy level, but also gets us moving, coming back to our physical body 3 times. Pausing for any questions. Otherwise, I will forge ahead. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about the other kind of bigger core practices that we're going to be anchoring our series with, and anchor a very good daily practice with. So a lot of you know, not everybody, but a lot of you know the microcosmic orbit. We will return to it, stay with it, because we were doing it in the last series. We will just continue our relationship with it, but we will also spend a little more time, attention with an important facet of the orbit, which we don't necessarily do. We don't need to do it to have a very good microcosmic orbit, but the back of the orbit is yang. This is going up, not a meridian, but a vessel, governing vessel, also called Dumai, which is governed by yang qi. And in the head is a little transition, but the majority of the microcosmic orbit down the center front is yin, functional channel, also called Renmai. And until this point, I'm pretty sure even my longer term students, we've always traveled up the back and down the front, and that is called the fire orbit, fire direction. This is the safest direction because the I don't want to use the word force, let's say flow of the energy can open and release emotional energy we've harbored in one of these energy centers. And each of these little circles is an energy center along the pathway, more or less aligned with chakras, not completely, but. And if we're drawing energy down the front of our body, the main energy center we're worried about is the heart, which so many people keep so much in their heart. If something's released during your practice, the flow of the energy will encourage that emotional energy downward, not into your face, not into your head and your upper dantian. That's the main safety concern. Another reason I think is because that is the male direction. So before contemporary times, women would have been taught up the front and down the back from the very beginning. And all of my Tao teachers are men. The main teacher who brought this practice to the West, Mantak Chia, is a very young male. So I do wonder if the predominance of male practitioners, something about the yin water direction has been set aside. So we will spend time with both. And I will, if you're a new person signing up for this series, I'll be keeping an eye on you, basically. I don't think that, something exploding out of the heart is a super present danger, but that was handed to me by my teachers, so I respect it. Why do this? So many reasons. This is the royal road of your energy circulation practice. If you do no other energy circulation practices, doing this alone balances the yin and yang qi in your energy body. Here's a more clear diagram. It provides, I would say it vitalizes both the yin energy and the yang energy. The vessels are not meridians. They can hold excess energy that the organs can draw on. So you want a nice, lively microcosmic orbit full of qi, just like you want your lower dantian full of qi. And it can also, so it can feed depleted organs, and it can also take on excess energy from any organ or meridian. Those two things, depletion and excess, along with obstruction or stagnation, those four things are kind of the main categories of illness or danger of illness in your energetic body. So having two of them taken care of with the microcosmic orbit is huge. And it also actually can clear energy centers along the orbit that may be tending towards stagnation or obstruction. I would like to do this saddle orbit, which is down the bottom of the orbit, if we have time, but this will be the first microcosmic orbit that we do. It is the sort of intro microcosmic orbit, but I keep making my students do it over and over again because it's also amazing for grounding, for I want to say not protecting, but sort of building a wonderful boundary around your lower dantian that makes your lower dantian stronger. So there are two other practices, very powerful. The second, I'll leave aside embryonic breathing for a moment. The second from Mantak Chia is called Kan and Li. And it is an alchemical practice. Microcosmic orbit is considered alchemical also, but it is really a foundation tool we use in other practices. Kan and Li, Chinese words for water and fire. And the kidneys are the source, the home of our water element. The heart is the source and the home of our fire element. The way they're situated in our body, they tend to stay separate, and that's not good. Embryonic breathing brings them together it's more of a spirit level, connecting your heart with your kidneys, the kidneys being the home not only of your water, but of your destiny, your path in life. And the belief is that if those are not connected, regardless of what external success and comforts you may have, you will never feel at home. So it's extremely, I think, important practice. Kan and Li deals not with the spirit, it deals with the energy body. And it's very straightforward. We basically connect with and gather those energies where they live, in the kidneys and the heart. And then through the meditation, we reverse them so that the water is above the fire. And then we can steam our whole body with this alchemically balanced energy. And if you think about steaming, steaming purifies, strengthens, and going a step further with purifying, it gets rid of extraneous material. In the Kanan Li, I don't know if steaming does that in cooking, but so steps are simple. And once we go through the steps and set it up, then it becomes a very yin kind of sinking in process. Why would we want to do this? In Qigong and Taoism, they have the idea of suffering, but it's quite different than the Buddhist idea of suffering. It is emotional energy imbalances kind of battling each other. And through this practice, along with the microcosmic orbit, and for instance, the 6 healing sounds or fusion, you are fundamentally changing the emotional energies of your body. And your mental, emotional body, as well as your physical body. And that's how, not by, so in Taoism, we really don't have enlightenment as such. Through cultivation, you clear yourself of stress, of the troubling emotions, which are just energy. And you do it directly through the 6 healing sounds, but you do it like a whole body. Steaming does the same thing. Similar thing, points you in the same direction. So wondering if there are questions about that. I know those terms and those ideas might be quite new, even feel awkward. So please ask. And Jamie and I guess Meredith and Liz have done Kanan Li once with me, but we're going to spend a little more time with it in this series. Along with that, we're going to be doing several Qigong. So the things that I've been talking about, Kanan Li, embryonic breathing, microcosmic orbit, are actually Neigong. Just means inner work. Qigong, skillful breathing, usually standing or sometimes sitting, but mostly standing, breathing, moving. The ocean and fire Qigong we did as a perfect example. So what I would like to do in the time we have left is a couple of different Qigong that will bring into your body a yangness of qi and a yinness of qi. And we will end with a yin sitting. So let's stand up once again. I think it's okay to do some yang stuff. And there's also the idea that you can't just cultivate your yin by just doing yin. It's kind of like if you have a completely dry rag and you plunge it into water, the rag will not absorb the water. So you need to have both. You need to introduce water to the rag and then it will really soak it up. Hopefully that analogy works. So one of the more yang, vitalizing Qigong that I particularly like is called the golden ball. And it introduces to our body and our brain all the ways that Qi can move. So standing well, you might even want to stand a little wider than your hips, that's fine. And begin by pantomiming holding a ball. So this is like the size of a beach ball, maybe, not too small, not so big that your arms are too far away from your body. And just do the little kind of acting exercise of holding this ball and sending it slowly downward. Visualize yourself standing in a gentle stream of Qi. Once again, that golden light, that soft golden light works beautifully. And we're going to go down and draw upward. So Qi rises. We bring a ball of Qi up and Qi expands. So our ball, golden ball, expands. Qi contracts. Our ball contracts. It flows in. So the feeling of that Qi ball entering your body flows out. You can add to it the intention of taking anything you don't need with it. Qi descends. And Qi disperses. Qi gathers, rises, expands, contracts, flows in, flows out, descends, disperses. Gather. I'm going to pick up the speed a little bit. Rise, expand, contract, flows in, flows out, descends, disperses. Gather, rise, expand, contract, flows in, flows out, descends, disperses. Now, can you do it without me guiding? Follow my movements. So I'm going to slow it down now that you have those movements. I want you to move internally. So as you gather the Qi, gather yourself. As the Qi rises, you rise. As the Qi expands, expand yourself. Contracts. Feel yourself contracting. The Qi comes in, feel it entering your body. It flows out of your body. And it sinks or descends. And it disperses. So I will guide you again, but pay attention to inside, not the arm movements so much. Gather, rise, expand, contract, flow in, flow out, descend, disperse, gather, rise, expand, contract, flowing in, flowing out, descend, disperse. One more time. Gather, rise, expand, contract, flowing in, out, descend, disperse. And stand for a moment. Good. We'll finish seated. Another yin yang balancing practice, which many of you have done, is alternate nostril breathing. And there is a really, truly lovely practice from Wan Li, who was an original student of Montauk Chia's, who's now in Barcelona, I think, that we will use as a precursor to prepare the ground for Kanan Li, because it uses the right and left. He calls them nadis, thrusting channels. And the right nadi is considered yang, the left is yin. So don't have time to share that practice completely, just to, I guess, return to distilling. We will circulate with a focus on yin and yang, the microcosmic orbit. I think we're going to start every class with the inner smile to kind of set that soft and accepting yinness. And those are two of the foundation practices from Universal Tao. Along with those, we're going to kind of go further, and we're going to institute, bad word, begin working with alternate nostril breathing and bringing in Wan Li's very gentle but deep thrusting channel practice to prepare us for the Kanan Li practice. The embryonic breathing is self-contained and a beautiful grounding in yin and yang, fire and water, which we will do several times also. So I'm going to close the class with alternate nostril breathing. But before I do, thank you, Erin. The 8 brocades we will use as our movement practice. So the version we're using is very gentle and accessible. So I've shared with you today these little, I don't know, I guess calling them snippet Qigong are very, they're kind of essential because we're so compressed for time, etc. You can do these short things. And then the 8 brocades, whenever I teach Neigong or seated practice, I feel it's necessary to include a movement practice. And I'm glad you asked that question because it fell off my list. But the 8 brocades, the gentle one, because I also teach a rigorous one that cultivates tendon strength. But this more gentle one is a great way to bring the intention of yin and yang to our physical movement. So actually, why don't we hold off on alternate nostril breathing, and we can do a couple or 3 from the 8 brocades so you can see what I mean rather than guessing. So let's stand up again. So as usual, standing well, And I kind of like beginning the first movement with my feet even a little narrower, because there's a verticality to movement one anyway. Feel your feet on the floor, connecting with earth, ground connecting to heaven. And the way I usually share this is by showing you first the basic visible or external movements, and then give you details of the internals as we go. The movement is, as I inhale, my hands come up around here, they clasp, and I come up. So I am stretching, but this is me locking, I'm not locking. And then as I exhale, my hands, my arms float down. One more time with the physical. And exhale. So bringing yin and yang. Even though I'm drawing energy from the earth, this is yang, intention. I'm pulling stuff up. I'm filling my body with that soil, with the earth, and stretching upward, opening my body. So the yin, my arms float down like fog, like the way seeds float down or leaves. So a little bit crisper, more intention, softer. Couple more times. The second movement begins the same way. We come up to our heart, but then we reach for heaven and earth. Doesn't matter which side, because we switch off. So once again, open, reaching, yang. With the inhale, and as I exhale, everything softens. I become internal. I return to my heart. Open. Circle. Holding a breath. Exhale, yin. Inhale, yang, open, reaching the horizon, the sky and the earth, and then coming to my center. One more time. Exhale. We inhale. And when we get to the middle point, we just come down. I think we have, yes, at least one more. So I'm going to switch out the drawing the bow and do a special drawing the bow that is really beautiful and works with fire and water. So for any drawing the bow, we need a horse stance. So go wide, not too wide. Make sure your tailbone points to the earth. And I will give more instruction on a good horse stance, natural horse stance, at a later time. Before we even start, close your eyes and connect with the water of your body. We are 65, 70% water. And then connect with the water of the planet. You can use the same imagery from ocean and fire Qigong, but you reach down metaphorically, physically, energetically, connecting with that water. And you do this in a soft, yin, watery way, drawing it up to your heart. This is the mudra. I've inhaled, I exhale. I hold my breath empty. I look through my fingers. My vision is my arrow. Then I smoothly inhale back to my center. Return to the earth for more water, drawing it up. Exhale. Inhale. Now I shift from water to fire. As I go down, I'm already going from this softness to a of fire down to the center of the earth, drawing that fiery yang qi up. Exhale, fists. Hold empty. Inhale. Exhale. More. Inhale. Exhale. So because we're just working with fire, yang, qi, I want you to brush down your center line, stepping back and forth. This is a habit to get into because this brushing, we use the porosity and power of our palms to draw any energy that may have gone into our head down, can be to the dantian or all the way back to the earth.